prison talk time. Yeah, and I wear my sunglasses at night. Prison talk time. Everything's coming off the top of my head, so you're gonna have to deal with that. And I say a lot for some reason. I need to work on my speech. So I did 8 years in prison, and I want to tell you about what it's like to be in prison and what I went through, and it's not a place you want to be. I tell you that. Actually, once you get used to being in there, you meet some very, very special friends, but you wind up, and I'm kind of jumping towards the end here, you wind up losing those connections after you get out because, I don't know, it's just weird. Like, one of my best friends was Nicholas Carbone and Philip Sneed, and they were my best friends, and they would have done anything for me. They would have died for me. Prison is kind of like the world, but on a smaller scale. Let's see, back in 2008, I went in for my 3-year bid. And what happens is they take you to a reception center, and I was living in Port Sarasota, Florida. So they sent me to Orlando Reception Center, which is CFRC, and believe me, there's just as much drugs in there than there is out here. The currency is different. People trade food. The currency is food. You don't deal in dollars and pennies and stuff like that in prison. So I go to CFRC, and they have no AC in there. It's the middle of the summer, and you talk about hot. Dangerously hot. People falling out left and right, having heat strokes. It was not a pretty sight. So CFRC. I was in an open dorm setting. I was there for about 2 weeks before I got placed. I'm just gonna jump to my 5-year sentence because the 3-year sentence was petty, but I still went through the same process of going through CFRC, which is Central Florida Reception Center, which is in Orlando. The permanents there that stayed at CFRC wore white outfits, white and blue stripes on the side. The inmates in transit wore blue with a white stripe on the side. And when they say chain gang, like, you ain't from the chain gang, that's from a long time ago. There's no such thing as a chain gang. They don't do that anymore. They don't, put you in a line, line you up and chain you up and make you walk with a guy on a horse with a shotgun. those are stuff for the movies, okay? Um, Back when I was in, which wasn't too long ago, they allowed tobacco products, and I don't know why they took that out because it's so stressful in there. But one of the things I did was work out all the time, every day. Like, every day, all day, for 5 years. And I came out weighing about 205, 210. I'm going too far ahead. Okay, I go to CFRC, and everybody's in transit mode. Everybody's getting placed to their own camp, and it happens within 2 weeks. So, in 2 weeks, and remember, I'm looking at a 5-year sentence here. I already did 3 prior. But we're not going to talk about that because that was nickel and dime time. 5 years I'm looking at. So my first camp that I went to that they placed me permanent was Cross City. And I remember my first night there's showers it's all guys, and there's showers that are lined up. And I remember I was showering, and I wasn't thinking, and I started washing my hair. And I looked to my right and my left, and there's 2 other guys with their clothes off, looking at me. It was 2, gay guys, and I have nothing against gay people, but I'm not gay. So I just put my head down, and I hurry up and get out of there quick as I could. Now, Cross City had a gang problem. You had the Peckerwoods, you had the Latin Kings, you had the Zoes, you had the Bloods. There was no Crips. That's more of a East Coast kind of thing, which I'm not going to say anything about the Crips. But the Bloods were nasty. Being at where I was at, the food was not that good at Cross City. Cross City is some podunk town way up in North Florida. They had a pretty good workout area, I must say. But I didn't use weights. I did all calisthenics, and I got pretty big off of it and very strong off of straight calisthenics. I would do the Herschel Walker workout, 1,000 push-ups a day, and 1,000 push-ups a day, 1,000 sit-ups a day, and 500 squats a day. Pretty much walking around the rec yard doing lunges. We played handball, which was so fun. Handball was so fun. Cross City is also, I was there for about 2 years. I played ping pong every day. I played ping pong every day. And even before I went to prison, I was pretty good at ping pong. I wasn't really that good, but when I got out of when I was in Cross City, I'd play ping pong every day, and there was this old man, and he had a life sentence. Nobody could beat him, and he loved playing me because I gave him the best competition. So, hold on 1 second here. Okay. He loved playing me. That was the highlights of me being in prison was ping pong, reading, going to the library, hanging out with my best friend, staying up on the weekends. And we used to watch Saturday Night Live and listen to. We had like these little Sony radios, these little clear Sony radios. I was set. I had everything. I had my tobacco. I had a full drawer of food. I had my radio. I even taught myself all the way up to calculus. We got a book, a math book, and we taught ourselves calculus. Me and Nick Carbone, we helped each other. I got up to quadratics, and I couldn't get past that. But back to the ping pong. This old man had been beating people's butts for years, and all he would do was like say you're on the right, like you serve the ball, and he had a way to hit the ball like you're on the right side, where he would chop it and it would go to the opposite side. It took me about 6 months to figure this old man out. And once I beat him the first time, he couldn't beat me ever again. And he would never play me again. It sucked. Nobody would play me after that. Nobody would play me in ping pong. I mean, you get a scraggler. You know, I feel like Forrest Gump, where he's just playing against the wall, like. But, you know, ping pong was a fun thing. And there's a bit of nostalgia from being in prison. I almost went nuts one time. In the middle of my sentence, it was 2.5 years into my 5-year sentence. I thought I was having a heart attack. Every day I would declare a medical emergency because I thought I was having a heart attack. So I wanted to get to Butler to have my heart checked. So we're heading to what they called it chow or whatever. They say chow, chow, chow. They yelled over the speaker. And mind you, remember, there's no AC. I had a plan where I was going to just fall out. And I did. I was walking to chow. It was a lunch. I fell out and I hit my head on the ground first hard. And all of a sudden I see all these guards running towards me, and I was losing my mind. I was really losing my mind because I couldn't perceive the amount of time being locked up in this place. It really screwed with my head. Don't ever go to prison. But it made me a better person. It made me a better person. So, I didn't get to go to Butler from that. They checked my blood sugar, and I'm not a diabetic. So, they assumed that I faked that. They said if you pull a stunt like that again, you're going in a box. And the box scared me because if I'm having trouble in population, if you put me in a box for 30 days or 90 days, they can put you in there for years. I really might go crazy. That might really pop something in my head, but I stayed out of the box. I never went to the box one time, even though I got into 3 fights, remember? Luckily, the guards liked to watch it. They wouldn't, unless somebody was really, really getting beat up bad, but the fights that I got into were done pretty quick. I mean, actually really quick. They didn't last long. So, one thing prison teaches you is to value your freedom. Value your freedom out here. In there, you're stuck. I mean, when I was in jail, at Charlotte County Jail, there was a guy named Scott Huss. Scott Huss. Huss. You can look him up. He chopped his wife's head off. And he was my roommate. I didn't know he'd done that. You talk about the nicest guy. His wife was a Russian mail order bride, and she came over from Russia. He was a millionaire, and he was also in the special forces. So he was a scary dude, but he loved me. He was, I mean, not love like relationship, but he really cared about me. And I remember he was still in jail when I left for prison, and he cried. I mean, this is the guy that chopped his wife's head off in front of his son. Alright, back to ping pong. Nobody play me in ping pong. There's plenty of drugs at Cross City. I wind up joining the Latin King. I didn't join. I was friends with the Latin Kings. I didn't have enough time. If I had 6, 7, 8, 10 years, I would have joined the Latin Kings just for the protection and the friendships, because the Bloods and the Skinheads and the Peckerwoods, they don't play. They will stab you and they will kill you. I've seen it happen from far away, and like I said before, up close. As you can imagine, there's not much that happens in prison, when I first got to CFRC, um, what they do is you're in a bus, and everybody thinks they're badass, Everybody thinks they're tough. But what they do is they pull into this area where nobody can see in. And there's probably 60 people on the bus, 60 to 100 maybe. And you get off the bus and they make you go in a circle, and they make everybody get butt naked. So it's all to like to break you down and humiliate you. And there's women guards in the window looking at everybody, which is like kind of creepy, because it shouldn't be that way. There shouldn't be women guards. It would be like male guards looking at the women, which I'm pretty sure happens. So yeah, that's what happens when you get to CFRC. From jail to prison is you pull up you get in the bus, which is called the Bluebird. You drive to CFRC. You take your clothes off. You're butt naked, standing there like covering yourself. And if it's the middle of winter up there, it gets cold. So if it's 20 degrees out, you're standing out there for an hour, butt naked, and they're going to each one of you and checking you, making you bend over and cough and all this crazy stuff. Then they shave your head, make you shave your beard. They give you a bag of lunch. And then you go into this room where they teach you about rape. There's nobody getting raped in prison, okay? There's too many punks that are giving it up. There's too many punks. So I was at Cross City for 2 years, and Cross City was a soft ass camp. Soft. It was softer than ice cream. Nobody would mess with you. You go to church. I love to read and play ping pong and work out. Those are my three things: read, work out, ping pong, listen to the radio at night. And I had a good time. Hate to say that, but I did. Even though I almost went crazy. But after 2 years, 2.5 years, they transferred me to another camp, which was ACI. And ACI is probably the worst camp in the state of Florida. And I'm not kidding you. The reason why is because it's a psych camp. The reason why they sent me there was because I was on Paxil. I was on an antidepressant. So, ACI. ACI is where it was like walking into ACI was like walking into Alice in Wonderland or something. Like there's guys in there that have real boobs, and they make makeup out of Skittles. They take all the colors from the Skittles, and they put the Skittles in water. Like they'll have little each color. I don't know how do they do it, but they take the color from the Skittles, like red, blue, green, and they make makeup out of it, and they put makeup on. So I was in the same dorm for 3 years at ACI. It was dorm C, and I met some guys in there that were some of the toughest motherfuckers I've ever met. You're talking tough. Like, there's this one guy named Red. They called him Red. He was a light skinned guy. I wouldn't want to fight him. No way. One day somebody stole his radio while he was at Chow. He come back, his radio's missing. He finds out this guy's got he's still in prison now. He's probably got another 15 years left. But he got a 30-year sentence. And he was fresh. Me and him got to ACI at the same time. He was doing a fresh 30. And some nights he would just freak out and just start punching. He would just start punching anything. So I was like, I better make friends with this guy. But I've seen that guy beat up three grown men at one time. Like big guys. And he beat them up easily. His left and his right hand were both just as strong as each other. And he didn't care if he got hit. He's coming in and he's hitting it. He's hitting you. If you try to wrap him up, this guy's 6'4", and he's gonna push you to the ground, and you're done. I mean, although one of the guys that I got into a fight with was probably 6'2", 300 pounds, but I used his weight against him, and I was able to use the concrete in his head, and it was all planned that way. I planned to do it that way. Put his head on the concrete. I met Philip Sneed there. I met Philip Sneed, and I met Nicholas Carbone. Nicholas Carbone, they were both very smart guys. They only had short time. And I had a lot of memories with those two guys. And nothing sexual, nothing. I'm just talking about we would just walk the track and listen to like music and be like, oh, I remember this. And we would work out. It was so fun. It was just so fun. But I wouldn't want to be there forever. I mentioned there's a lot of gays in prison. You're not going to get raped. You're not going to get raped, okay? There's a lot of gays. There's guys when you go out to rec, they're making out. There's all kinds of drug deals going down. I guess now they have cell phones, which was like back then. If you got caught with a cell phone, you're going in for 90 days to the box. But now I guess they have cell phones somehow. But we had cigarettes and we had tobacco, which was a real reliever because it helped with the stress. But I'll tell you about that time where the guy got murdered next to me when I was at ACI. It was about 3 o'clock in the morning, and this gay guy, his name was Sunshine, and I guess he cheated on his boyfriend. And that's what it's always about. It's always about somebody getting cheated on. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. I get woken up by this scream that I've never heard of before. It was like the scream of death. And I look over, and this guy is he's just stabbing him, like in his neck, anywhere you get him. He must have stabbed him 30 to 50 times, and then he just walks out the door. There's no guard in the station, and this guy just lays there and bleeds out and dies. Right? I mean, 10, 15 feet from me. And when you bleed out and there's that much blood, the strength of the iron that's in your blood, you can smell it in the air. And it stains your brain almost. But they wound up picking him up and dragging him. He was done. He was dead. Took him forever to get there. They don't care. I'm kind of jumping around to different stories here because it was a while ago. I've seen a guard get killed with one punch. This big, huge black guy. All he did was walk around and pick up cigarette butts, and he was big. This guy was like 250, and he'd been working out for like 15 years every day. For some reason, he went up to the nicest officer and hit him in the back of the head, and it killed the guy. One hit. It killed the officer, and the officer had to get airlifted. There was multiple times where I'd be on the track, somebody try to escape. There's the barbed wire in prison is not your regular barbed wire. It's razor wire, and there's rows of it. If you touch that fence, it's first of all it's electric. What people would do is they would cover their hands with something, like they would get something. People would bring stuff from the outside, like rubber gloves, and they would try to throw a blanket over the razor and crawl away over the razor, and then they have 4 guard towers on each corner, and in each guard tower there's a guard with a sniper rifle. And I remember one time will give you one warning shot. If you do not back off that fence, they will shoot to kill. So the guy kept going up the fence, and he got to the top, and they nailed him. I mean, he was dead on it. The bullet must have hit him in the heart, because he was hanging there for 6 hours. They rushed us back to our dorm, but I could see the yard from where my dorm was, and they let him hang there for 6 hours. I could not believe that. And we were locked down for like a week after that. Winters up there in Apalachicola, Florida, it's not like here. Sarasota, Cape Coral, West Palm Beach area. Winters up there, up next to Georgia, it gets 5 degrees. And there was times where we would lose power for weeks. And I don't know how we would eat bag lunches. That's how they fed us. Peanut butter and jelly. It's all we ate for weeks. And we took showers in 5-degree weather. I mean, you're taking your shower and you're blowing like, when it gets cold out and you're like, oh, you're taking showers and stuff like that. But you got to do it. Or you can't not shower for a few weeks. I think I took one shower. But, yeah. Did it make me strong? Yes. Did it? It made me strong. I got smart. But prison and the real world are two different things. Okay? In prison, being aggressive and being tough gets you respect. Out here, it gets you in jail. So you can't come out here and think you're tough, because you're going to get shot or you're going to wind up back in jail. So just because I went to prison doesn't mean I can't succeed. That's what, I believe this country is made for, is entrepreneurship and creativity. And if you're smart enough to be if you're smart enough to help someone else save their time or improve someone else's life, that's where the money is. Now, if you want to settle on being an employee, you'll never get rich. Making 19, 20, 25 bucks an hour, 30 bucks an hour, you never get rich. You'll be a slave the rest of your life. And that's what I see, They tax you on your paycheck. They tax you on everything. Everything's taxed. But back to prison. ACI. They made the best they made the best breakfast. It was a cinnamon and oatmeal. It was like a cinnamon bun and oatmeal. I used to take the oatmeal and put it on the cinnamon bun. And my grandfather was alive back then. He would send me $100 a week, and I would buy like 4 of those plates for a couple of soups apiece every breakfast. I loved it. I loved it so much. Even it could be 5 degrees out with a 30 mile per hour wind gust. Real feel is like in the negatives, and I'm going to breakfast. That's the best meal of the day. I served the liver. The liver was green. It's disgusting. I gave away my liver. Yeah, there was, and then everybody else loved it. How could you eat green liver? It smelled good when they cooked it, but I couldn't eat that. No. I heard now they don't serve it. Now it's mostly like soy processed foods. We used to get real chicken on the bone, real hamburgers. We used to get a lot more real foods. Now it's all processed soybean breaded stuff. But yeah, I did my 5 years, and it was. I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm sorry. It's been a long day, and with what I'm going through right now, it's just tough. But I'm talking about prison. I'm a tough person, but I'm not the toughest person in the world, of course. But I'm tough. I can handle the mud, crud, whatever. Even though, some people think, oh, you can talk whatever. I can talk whatever way I want to him. He's not gonna do nothing. That's just me being emotionally mature. That's just me holding back. So yeah, look up Scott Huss, SCOTTHUSS, and it's online. Read his story. I've met many murderers, and they're normal people. It's like, I don't get it. You're a normal person. There was one guy in there. He was going to Florida State University. He was about to graduate. He was driving drunk one night and killed a family. He got 30 years. He went from almost graduating at FSU to 30 years in prison. So your life can turn like that if you don't think before you do things. That's why I'm very careful. I am very careful in what I do. Because examples like that, from almost graduating at FSU with a whatever law degree to 30 years in prison, you gotta think before you do things out here. And they love throwing people in prison, especially if you've been there once. They like to throw you back in there. I guess with that being said, there's a lot more I could say. A lot. I mean, 5 years in prison, There's so many things that I'm not thinking of right now, but I've given you the gist of it. There is no raping going on in prison. Um, there's no AC. They make you work for free, and they bust your ass. They make you work really hard. Like I was roofing for free. I actually redid the roof at ACI on the library by myself. Yeah, I did it by myself. I mean, I was a strong little sucker carrying those plywood. The plywood felt like it was 3 pounds. I mean, it was nothing. But that was back in 2010. I'm not proud of going to prison, but I think that if I didn't go, I would have wound up dead. I wouldn't be here right now. There's a reason for everything. So with that being said, I want to say good night. And I think my next video will be, maybe we'll go to the mall and I'll hand out some money or something and help some people that need some help. I think that would be a good thing to do, right? Have a good night. Today is, what's today? Sunday or Monday? Sunday or Monday, one of those days. I love you all, and I'm okay. I'm doing well. Have a good night.